All right. Well, good evening, everyone. We are super excited to see you guys tonight. I love getting on these calls and seeing faces that hopefully they're faces that I will get to see in person in just a little over a month at convention. I'm so excited. Who else is excited for convention? I was thinking about it earlier. Yes, I was thinking about it earlier, and this sounds super cheese-tastic, but you guys know me and I am super cheesy. It's like a big old family reunion. We all get together and we get to see each other and hug each other's necks and actually be live and in person with one another. And so I'm super excited about it. It's here in Dallas, so that's awesome. But make sure you're registered. If you're not registered for convention, there's still time to get registered, but make sure you are because as much as we love these Zoom calls, seeing everyone live and in person, you just cannot beat it. And then there is also going to be a huge product announcement at convention. Jana and Sunday on that diamond call the other day that everyone and Krista that everyone was posting about. Was anyone exaggerating with what they were saying about what's coming? Right? Like it's exciting. It's super, super exciting. So that's coming at convention. You don't want to miss it. I've always heard people say, I regret not coming to convention. I've never one time had anyone look me in the eye while we're standing there having a blast, hearing the speakers. There are speakers too. Like there's actual sessions you go to. It's not just all family reunion and fun but and look me in the eye and go, I really regret coming to this thing. Like, no, that doesn't happen. They regret not coming. So make sure you're registered, and we will see you guys all here in Dallas. Super excited about the call tonight. Krista, my message to you probably came out of the blue of like, can you speak on the call? But I wanted to tell you the reason why I reached out to you is because I messaged Jana and Sunday and Stephanie, and I was like, hey, do you guys have any ideas for a call? And I'm telling you, within seconds, I think Jana and Sunday, or maybe I can't remember which one, messaged me your name. And I'm like, great idea. And they were all on the same page. So wanted to reach out to you. I'm going to open us up in a word of prayer that I'm going to hand this over to Krista and she's going to speak for a few minutes and then we should have some time to do a Q&A, which I'm excited about. So let's go ahead and pray. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for this night. Thank you for this call. Excuse me. Lord, I just pray that you will just be with Krista as she speaks. And Lord, help us to just get a word from you tonight. And Lord, bless our businesses. Lord, we pray that we ask your blessing upon all things Plexus, upon the company as a whole, upon each of our businesses. We just ask your fervent blessing. Lord, thank you for this call. In your name we pray. Amen.
Mhm.
Krista, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Amber. I really appreciate you having me on the call. And I'm actually a little bit nervous. So please forgive me if I sound a little bit hesitant because I told Amber, I'm not a public speaker. Oh my goodness. But I do see some familiar faces. I see Gianna and Cindy, and then also Vicky was my next door neighbor in Hawaii. So I got to know Vicky through a Hawaii trip last September. So that was awesome. And you were so right about conventions saying that it's like a family reunion because it truly is. And you do look forward to seeing your friends and those relationships. And I've been with Plexus for 11 years now. So I joined February 2014. Um, and it has been one of those things where the friendships really have kept me during a lot of ups and downs because we all have ups and downs in the business. And so I really encourage you to get to convention. And when you're there, go out and meet new people too, put them on your Facebook, interact with people, find some new friends. That has been my biggest blessing in being part of Plexus because when I joined, I don't really have any upline that's really working with me. I kind of started my diamond above me. I think she's 5 levels up. So she's who I go to when I need something, and she's been awesome. But never had that real close upline connection where we're partnering together. But that hasn't always been a bad thing. I've used it to my good to really push me to learn and also to be better for my team, right? So if that's something that I wanted and didn't have, I just created it for my own team. And instead of going up, I go down into my team and help them like I would want to be helped. So we have a very close team connection, and I work within my team like quite deeply too. I think like probably most everybody does. So I'll share a little bit about my story about how I got started, and then I'll just do a little training on what led me through some things in my business. Because I think one thing about building a network marketing business for me, I went very quickly to Emerald and Sapphire. And while that looks great and fun, and you think that is like that's what I want to do, it's not always the best thing because you don't get to learn along the way. And so sometimes a little bit slower so you can absorb things and really take things in, relationship build, taproot into your team, all the things doesn't happen as easily because you're building so quickly. But I was one of those ones who grew very, very quickly. And very naive to network marketing beforehand, did not have any skills per se. I was with another company for a very brief moment and but didn't have any skills in network marketing. And I thought back in those days that I made it. Like I must have got the perfect lottery and I made it, right? And this is how it was going to be forever and ever. Amen. And it's funny because my one of my best friends was one of my top leaders with me at the time, and about that sapphire rank chose to leave for their own reasons. And I wish I could go back now and do things differently in how I handled that situation, because again, immaturity in my own emotional intelligence was not there. I was living on the high, building, running meetings, doing a lot of things. And so, but one thing that they always used to say to me was, um, when you get to diamond, look around and the people that you started out with might not be with you. And I never dreamed it would be them. Right. And it cut me really hard to the core. It really set me back a lot in my mindset, a lot of my self confidence, even in the fact that maybe this was all like I had only come this far to come this far because of people who were on my team. So it really did set me back in my rebuilding phase. But then something just switched as I just got I'm also a believer too. And so I would pray. Plexus was my only source of income since 2015. So there wasn't much time just to sit back and lick my wounds over it. I had to get busy and figure things out. But I would pray and I would say, Jesus, if I'm supposed to be here, you've got to carry me through this because I can't do this on my own. And I think those days, even though going through it was very, very rough, and there was one time I laid on my bathroom floor and cried my eyes out because I was just like so overwhelmed with what to do. But even though it was really, really tough, I learned so much on how to dig in deep within myself and having the strength of Jesus to rely on. And I remember just laying in bed sometimes just being like, thank you, Jesus. Like, thank you, Jesus. I'm so thankful for my life. I'm thankful for my team who wasn't doing anything at the time. But I would say, I'm so thankful for my team. And I would be thinking of each face as I would be laying in bed and be, thank you for Melanie. Thank you for Sarah. Thank you for Kathy. And I would just be like praising over them. Even they were just as shocked as we all were and kind of just taken aback as to what was going to happen. And I did that for months. I would pray that way. And then I also got busy too. I got into my back office and really started to dig around, call people, and not to talk about the situation, but to say, okay, where are we at with things? Like, what do you want? And that was another teaching thing for me, is of where I used to always be like, kind of like, you can do it, go get three, rah, 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 that sort of thing. But now I've completely changed how I lead my team in what they want. And that came from those days of really um, trying to build relationships with people that I did not know in my team and being able to coach them and be, what do you want with your business and your life? Where do you want it to take you? I want to help you to get what you want and not what I want. And that was a really great learning experience as to the power of slowing down and to go ahead, right? Because it was really solidifying us. And through all of that, we've grown into a diamond team and have many great leaders now that have deep, deep roots, which I think is really important. I started to really build with my level one team and teach them really well, come alongside them really, really close and teach them how to lead their team. Meanwhile, myself always rooting into the team to build relationships with people to help to bring them all along. Because as you have new builders coming on, it's sometimes hard for them to juggle all the balls. And so coming alongside of your level one leader and really getting with them and getting in and saying, how's Susie doing? How's Karen doing? What's Sally doing? Tell me all the things. And on a daily basis, there's several of us now that we talk on a daily basis where they just know what's going on in the team. So I did a little training. Do I have a little bit more time, Amber? Yeah. I'm just going to do just a little chat about grace and how it was really grace that carried me through those days. Um, and I learned a lot about grace also on a personal level, because even grace and forgiveness and grace and just understanding that my friends, eventually we worked it out personally amongst ourselves and are still friends to this day. But that took a lot of grace on my part because in my heart, in that pain, I had a lot of unforgiveness at first. But then just not too long ago, I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to carry this anymore. It's not who I am. Before Plexus, I never had this sort of relationship flaws and things like that with a friend. And so I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm laying this cross down. And I called her up and we've since really started to rebuild our friendship. So that's through grace. So grace is unmerited favor. But also when you're thinking about your business, it's also having gentleness for yourself and patience and self-compassion, because you can't be so hard on yourself as you're growing your business that you almost kind of work yourself into not working your business because you're so hard on yourself, right? So in our business, it looks like not beating yourself up when things are slow, which we all go through seasons of slowness, no matter where you're at, if you're just beginning or if you're a seasoned ambassador like myself. Allowing yourself space to feel disappointment without getting stuck there. You can feel it, but then you got to pick yourself back up and say, okay, I got to get back to work. Extending kindness to your team members when they struggle. And this was something that I really took away from those days was how my team members feel when they're having slow days. Because before I was on that high of growth, right? Very fast, very quick. It was, fun, all the things. And when my team members would come to me and say, I'm struggling, I'd be like, just find three and I'll fix it. I was so naive. But then also believing that God is still working behind the scenes. He knew that I needed these edges smoothed off on me in order to go where I was going. Because I don't know what the story would have been like had there been a straight line to success, which there never is. And I'm sure that God saw that I needed a little humility brought onto me. So keep believing that God is still working behind the scenes. Grace isn't just what saves us, it is what sustains us. Okay, so then why do hard times actually come? I mean, I asked that question many times. Why? Why me? Woe is me. Growth isn't linear. Nobody is. Nobody has linear success. Even those who maybe shot to diamond, even then there's growth in there that comes later. It's not a linear success. Some might lose success, some might have to do some growing when they get there in order to sustain it. So it's not linear. Just like in nature, we need the winter to push roots deeper. And I had spoken about, tap rooting into my team and really learning how to relationship build with people on a level that wasn't just about Plexus. It was about life. It was about people. It was about caring, and really just developing those deeper roots. um like as with a plant, if you don't water a plant like all the time, if you do water it all the time, the roots sit at the top. But if you allow it a little season to dry out a little bit, the roots will go into the soil to find more moisture, and those roots will grow longer and deeper. So that's just like tap rooting into your team. Hard times refine our commitment, our character, and our calling. And I spoke about how I prayed, like, Jesus, if this is meant to be, like, you have to give me signs in that. There was so many times God opened doors, and even shut doors when relationships would start out. If they were the wrong relationship, God would shut doors, and I would actually feel it, and I'd be like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to be doing that. And then as soon as I changed course, a door would open up, almost like God would be saying, you're on the right path, go this way, right? So those hard times are really refining our commitment, our character, and our calling. You don't know what is in you until you're pressed. So if you have on your goal that you want to be diamond, that cliche is really true, that diamonds are created through pressure. And but it's not something to be feared or something to kind of be like, oh, like, I don't want that pressure. I don't want to be outside the box. I want to be comfortable. You will be a diamond through pressure, and it is growing you. And when you get to the top, you won't be the same person. You'll be such a well-rounded individual that you are able to handle that success, right? So how to grow in grace practically. Speak life over yourself. I mentioned about, speaking life over my team, even when they were dead in the water. I was speaking life over them. And eventually those words came true for many of the top leaders on my team that have stayed with me all these years. Say things like, I'm doing my best, and that is enough for today, right? Give it your best and be happy that you gave it your best. If you have an hour to spend on your business today, and you did that, even if you were going for 2, you gave it a good hour. And 1 hour is better than nothing, right? So you did your best. And there's always tomorrow to restart back over again. I trust that my consistency is sowing seeds, even if I don't see the harvest yet. And so that is so true. I choose progress over perfection. This was an area that I really struggled in with perfection, that I had to be the be all end all for the team. I had to be perfect. Everything had to be, every I dotted, every T crossed. But then I realized that I wasn't doing my team any favor either. And I started to delegate and allow team members to lead, even in their imperfection when they first started out, because we all start out messy. But if you never are allowed to start out, then you never yourself get to hone those skills of leadership. And so I love doing that now. And I love seeing people rise up to the task and work through that uncomfortableness of being uncomfortable, knowing that they have to be uncomfortable in order to get better. And so that is something that I really encourage you to take a look at, how you are developing your leaders in that area too. So take aligned action, not frantic hustle. Again, this, like, I'm almost talking to myself as I'm going through this again. Grace-filled action is steady, not scattered. Slow and steady wins the race. And you learn so much in the steady versus being scattered and feeling in your head like things are just coming at you a million miles at an hour, and not able to really grasp any of it with grace. But grace filled action is steady. Focus on faithfulness, not flashy results. I know recruiting is, flashy and you get all the accolades in that, but your faithfulness to your customers is just as important, because just like investing your money, it compounds with your customers. So if you have 2 customers come on board with you this month and you take care of them and they stick with you for the next 10 years, you are better to take care of them than to be out looking for 10 customers and not taking care of anybody because you were scattered and all over the place, right? So really take care of your customers by focusing on your faithfulness to them and serving them and not looking for the flashy results. Check your circle. This is a big one too. Are you surrounded by people who remind you who you are when you were in the valley? There's many people that I've had to just put them into a different box. If I socialize with them occasionally, and some that I know that I don't ever want to see them ever again. Because they just have that negativity about them. And I'm like, every time I leave, I just feel like I'm in the pit again. So check your surroundings, surround yourself with positive people who love you, who support you, are cheering for you as much as you're cheering for them. And they're there for you. They remember when like I have one team leader, she'll remember that I'm doing something the next day, and she always messages me and says, "Hey, good luck with whatever it is." Or how's your new baby grandson doing? And she is so thoughtful that way. And I've learned by watching other people and how that feels to extend that to my team also.
Put your window down or one of the back windows down.
Also be the kind of leader that you are for your team. I spoke about that a little bit earlier. And get rooted in your spirituality. Pray over your business. Nothing will bring you more peace than when you pray over your business and you know you've left it with Jesus and he's got it taken care of. We just have to do the do, because he's not going to look after it all for us. We do still have to get out and do the do. Ask for wisdom, discernment, and peace. This is a big one for me too. Always asking for wisdom and discernment, knowing when, being able to read the room and read your team, what's going on and things like that. Always have your discernment feelers up and come with a peaceful heart. Journal what you're learning in the struggle, not just what you want from the struggle. So what are you learning in the struggle? And what does grace produce? Grace produces strength without striving, confidence without comparison, leadership without pressure. I think that's especially the confidence without comparison. In our industry, it's so hard to fall into the trap of comparison because there's so many people that are, out there doing things, and, some are doing things that we want. But when you have comparison, I thought about this a while back for another training that I was doing about comparison and how when I first start out, of course, you see all the different ones doing things on the leadership and things like that, and being like, man, I wish I could be like that. Man, she must be really, got something special about her. But we all have something special within us to give. And what I would do is I would watch some of the top leaders of what they're doing, and some of them would be out doing meetings, some of them would be doing coffee dates. And in my mind, I'd be like, well, I'm not doing that. I need to start doing more meetings. I need to do more coffee dates. I need to get one-on-one with people, building that relationship. That's why people are successful. It's because what they're doing. Encouragement and a call to action. So I know it's tempting to want to quit when it's hard. Been there. But what if this season is the one that matures you the most? What if this is the one that teaches you to lead with compassion, to work with peace, and to truly trust the process? So here's your challenge. Write down one area where you need to give yourself more grace. Choose one grace-based action you can take today or tomorrow. Reach out to someone on your team and speak encouragement into their hard moment. And then in closing, grace doesn't mean we stop working. It means we stop striving so hard and spinning our wheels. We can be driven and still be gentle. We can have goals and still walk in peace. Keep showing up, keep sowing seeds, and trust that trust the God who grows the harvest. Okay, that's what I have, Amber.
Wow. I thought you said you were not a public speaker. That was so good. I have a huge full page of notes here, and there were moments there where it felt, have you ever been in a church service or something and you feel like someone's told the preacher all about your life and he's speaking right to you? There were moments there that's how I felt. So I think someone told you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No.
So, but thank you. That was so good. It really was. So, I want to encourage you in that you did a very good job public speaking. So I think you are a public speaker. So, I want to open this up now. Who has a question? Any questions for Christa? Either you can put it in the chat or just unmute and go ahead and fire away. If nobody answers, I'm gonna have Jana reveal a question. I'm gonna put her on the spot. Okay, Jana, you got a good question for Christa?
A good question. Well, first of all, I just want to say literally, like, I feel like I'm not just saying that, like, that was what our team needed. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know the behind the scenes of some things going on. And that, what you shared with us tonight was exactly, the Lord gave that to you because he knew
Mm.
our team needed that. He knew us as leaders needed that, I think. So
Yeah.
you. And you are a public speaker. Oh my gosh, you did a fantastic job. So that was so good. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a question. I'm still trying to process it.
So okay, I'll throw a question out here. Talk to us a little bit about, it's not really so much a question as just a topic of retention. And what does your team do for retention and we love signing up those new people, but you even talked about this, getting them to stick around is even bigger. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we did have a problem with retention too at one time. And I don't know what my percentage is because I'm awful about that sort of thing. But we seem to retain our numbers okay. I did create a board and I can share it with you guys too. It's basically a systems board of where it's recruiting, onboarding, and then business building. And then I think we have a couple other different systems. That's one thing I never had prior to what I call the apocalypse on our team was systems. We were just cherry picking and we were in that frantic stage, not knowing what to send, what to share, when somebody would come to me and say, okay, Chris, I want to do the business, I would panic because I knew what I was doing. And those leaders who come along who are very self-driven knew what they were doing. We were having a hard time taking our brains and putting it on paper in a way that was easy for people to understand. And so when boards came to me, probably, I guess it was maybe in 2020, I heard about boards. I think probably everybody has boards. I totally was like, oh, I don't have time, another app, like it's useless. I never even looked at it until I did. And then I was kicking myself. And I've learned this about myself, I don't like change. And so I work with now, whenever I have opposition, I'll be like, no, you don't like change, you have to do this. And so I created an onboarding system, and basically it's probably much like what you've taught your team in that. But now what I have done over the years is when somebody would come in our leadership chat, because we've had the same leadership chat for 10 years probably. And they would be like, how do I do this? I would go to the board and I would screenshot it, highlight it where they could find it. And I would do that every day. They would ask questions because I was always the one giving the answers, right? I was never not allowing them, but I never allowed them the opportunity to go find things. And whether it was something in my own personality where I felt like I had to be that leader, where I spoon fed everybody, but it was majorly management mode. And now I still do it, but now other people in the group chat are now, it's on boards under onboarding, like, so now they're reiterating that. So it took though quite a long time of doing that. But finally they got on to using boards because it was new to them too, right? When we put the systems in for our team, that really changed the whole dynamics of things where we really were staying strong to our systems. And another thing I'll talk about recruiting just a little bit too, because that, kind of goes before onboarding that. Is we chose 2 packs to share with people, the triplex reset or the triplex. That's our system, is what we sell to people. I'll deviate to the pink drink and collagen now, just because I'm doing another whole different thing that we've shared on the team about. Sometimes people, the triplex was too complicated for them and they quit because it was complicated, not because it didn't work. They just weren't taking the pills at night and things like that. So now I've gone back to, for those people, bringing them back with the pink drink and the collagen. And I'll literally go into my message with them and say, I think I actually did a copy and paste for you. Where it's something like, hey, Carol, like when you got started before, I might have overcomplicated the process for you. If I could show you an easier way to get back started on the products, would you be interested in knowing about the pink drink and collagen? You get results in as little as 2 weeks. Super easy. I think that might be a better fit for you. What do you think? So many people, when we started doing that, would be like, yeah, sure. And then they stay around because of the beauty part of it. Right. So, and then as far as onboarding with people, we do probably the same as what you guys do with getting started guides, the water chart, the detox video. It's just that everything's laid out in this board, like systematically. Send this, then send this, then send this. Right. And that has helped the new people to really understand what to do, because it's all there. It's pretty elementary for them, really. They just have to copy and paste it. And then I do talk to my team a lot about, I call it the white glove service. I used to do housekeeping like years and years ago. And I call it the white glove service. Be giving your customers the white glove service. Your customers are more important. If you can't recruit this month, at least take care of your customers and get in and talk to your customers, find out what they're doing, that sort of thing. That's always something that they should be deviating to, over recruiting. We do very good recruiting too. We're not high recruiters, but we do, we kind of hold our own. But I'm just as happy to see team keep their customers month over month from going into 3-4 months. Like that, to me, when somebody does that, it's like, okay, they're taking care of their customers, right? Versus I've even told some of my top leaders, when one girl first came on, she was recruiting like 20 people a month. And I was like, oh my goodness, you have to slow down because you can't take care of all these people at once. It must tell me what your system is that you're looking at. And she didn't have a system. And I was like, okay, girl, we've got to slow the train down, because you're going to lose them at the back end as quick as they're coming in the front end. And so she was like, but I love recruiting. I was like, I know, but your customers, again, like I said earlier, it's like compounding interest. You'll get paid on the work that you've done longer if you take care of your customers. So she's now fabulous. She's really gotten onto it. And now she's teaching her team and that sort of thing. So yeah. Sorry, that was a very long answer to your question.
Oh, it was great. I was listening very closely. I did giggle when you said that people said the triplex was too hard to do, but
I know.
But no, that was fantastic. Well, listen, does anyone else have a question for Christa? If not, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Going once.
Krista, are you
Here. Oh, go
Canada's
ahead.
first diamond?
No. Natalie Fuller and
Okay.
I think actually Eva is, and then Natalie Fuller.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who
Mhm.
don't know, Krista is Canadian. So if you can't tell in her accent.
Okay, so there's a question over here in the chat. What has helped you in the past reach out to potentials that you haven't talked to for a few months about Plexus? You were talking with them previously, and then some time has gone by. Dot dot dot.
I would just reach out to them probably with something like, "Hey, Carol, we haven't chatted for a while. At one time you were interested in Plexus, and we haven't picked up that conversation recently. Have you been curious lately about getting started?" And take it from there. Yeah.
That's
Keep it
good.
as short and sweet. I'm not, but my personality, like, I'm pretty introverted too. My personality is not like carry on a long conversation. I'm pretty short and sweet, get in and ask the question. I will
Mhm.
give a little tidbit that I gave one of my girls this past month. We have a contest in Canada where it's a Mexico trip, and this is our last month. And she was 6 recruits short for the personal enrollment portion of it. And so she was panicking, of course, because she had the credits, but she didn't have the personal recruits. And so I said to her, I said, you're going to have to get a little bit more gutsy in how you're reaching out to people. And so I said, do a post that has that will get a lot of feedback, usually family or something like that will get a lot of reaction on it. And then for every person who reacts on it, just go and thank them. Say, "Hey, Carol, thank you so much for liking on my posts. Like, I really appreciate your support. Hey, listen, I'm just wondering, like, have you ever been curious about Plexus?" Because they've given you the opportunity by interacting with you, and they know you do Plexus. So to me, when somebody does that to me, I like it that they're right short to the versus doing ring around the rosy with me and then, coming out with the question, knowing that that was the question all along. Right. So, anyway, she ended up recruiting 7 people already this month. So she's got her personal, yeah, with just being very bold and reaching out to, like 15 a day type thing, like a lot of people because she's on a goal.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, someone sent me a personal message asking me, said you mentioned a system. I think this is the board you were talking about, and you said you're going to be able to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll send that
Okay.
to you. Just
Okay.
don't judge it.
Okay. No, it'll be great. And then she also asked, in your opinion, what is white glove treatment for your customers?
That would be like doing the first initial onboarding with the getting started guide, the water chart, the detox video, that sort of thing. And then we also have a reset chat where every week we do a reset weekly. And in that reset chat, I just basically put in day 1, day down through to day 3. So that's part of that onboarding. And then touching base with them like 3 days into their product, and then another week later, once a week for the first month, and then before their subscription goes out. Like that's a big, big thing, is to make sure that our people are touching base before the subscription goes out, because it's amazing how many people would be like, "Oh, it went out. I hope she doesn't notice." And I'm like, "Oh, she's gonna notice." And then you're gonna be in trouble.
Yep. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so we just would do that sort of thing. And then getting them also with their perks for month 3, getting them their free product. And that will be all part of the onboarding that you'll read there about the perk system. We try to get a free product in their hands on month 3, just so they're kind of like, "Oh, wow," like, versus kind of just telling them about perks and hoping that they clue into it about it. But at month 2, when their order goes out, that's my next conversation with them is, "Hey, now that your second order has gone through, you now have 350 perks. Here's what you can get with them. What would you like to put on for your third order?" And so that they always choose something. Yeah,
Mhm.
works
I love
brilliantly.
perks.
Oh,
Oh,
perks are
like
amazing.
my favorite thing.
Yeah,
Free products.
yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Thank you so much, Krista. Those answers were fantastic. And have you earned the trip to Mexico? Are
I
you
did.
raring to go? Are you so
Yeah.
excited?
Yeah, it'll be great.
Good.
It's a trip for two. We do them every year in Canada, so this is our third one.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Y'all have a blast.
yeah.
Do you know how many diamonds or jewels that there are in Canada?
Don't have the jewel number. There is, let me see, there's not very many diamonds. There's so much room here to grow.
Yeah.
Eva, Andrew, Natalie, Cindy, Marge, and myself, I believe. Oh, and then Arlene. So there's 7 diamonds in
Okay.
Canada. Yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone here that's on the call on our team, does anyone have any customers or ambassadors in Canada? Sunday does. Oh, Cole's friends, right? Yeah. Very cool.
What
Linda
area,
does,
Sunday?
Linda does. Very cool. Well, Krista, thank you so much for your time tonight. Guys, this is not usual. Like other companies, I don't think do this where they're going to come on a call for us and pour into our team and send us her boards and all these things. Like it just doesn't happen. Plexus is so different. I love our culture and I thank you so much for this. Guys, we're going to go ahead and close this out. I will post the recording of this call either later tonight or sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow. But you'll have a great rest of your night. See ya. Bye. Thank you, Krista.